May the Force be with you.
The time has come.
As you see, my Jedi powers are far beyond yours.
I felt a great disturbance in the Force, as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to our awards here on the Sports Jedi Network. Heel of the Ring. It is the NXT awards that we're going to be giving out today. Of course, we are ready to go. We're ready to rock and roll, lock and load. All our systems are ready to go. Let's get Chris in. Who's joining me here. Chris, what's up, Chris?
What's up? What's up? Good,
all right.
good.
I'm ready to go. Hope you're doing well. How's your Sunday treating you here?
It's going good. None of my teams are playing, so less stress. I had all that stress yesterday. Good chill Sunday.
Excellent. So we'll give a few seconds there. Maybe Chef Dan will join me in a minute here. Don't know where he's at right now. Of course, we did our awards for the WWE main roster yesterday from Raw and SmackDown. Today is NXT, so we got the NXT awards. You know, we do the watch-alongs here each and every week for NXT. We got our guy Terrence that goes to NXT week in, week out. I know he's working, so I didn't bother sending the invite. I know he's at work. He doesn't get out of work until later in the afternoon, so I didn't want him to feel stressed or, because there's only time I really have to record the NXT awards for us on the channel. So let's go right into our first award. And it's going to be for NXT Tag Team of the Year. The nominees, as they are up there, we got Hank and Tank, Nathan Frazier and Axiom, Lash Legend Jakara Jackson, and Chase U, Andre Chase, as well as Ridge Holland. And I'm going to go to you. Who is your choice of Tag Team of the Year for NXT?
This might shock some people, but I've always been really high on Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson. They're one of the only really tag teams that have worked in big shows on the main roster and NXT. They have so much potential. They're going to be the future of. They're going to be the next Jade and Bianca, essentially. So I would give it to Lash Legend, and Jakara Jackson for sure. They had a phenomenal year, and they're really good on the mic too in front of the live audience. And I don't think Nathan Frazier and his Axum have been that great in front of a crowd. So I would say, yeah, Lash Legend.
Okay. Chef Dan, what's going on? How are you? We got the NXT Tag Team of the Year, our first award. Our nominees are Nathan Frazier, Axiom, Lash Legend, Jakara Jackson, Chase U, Andre Chase, and Ridge Holland before the split. And Hank and Tank Ledger. I also forgot to mention Luca Cusapino and Stats. Who is your NXT Tag Team of the Year?
Chris made a lot of valid points about Lash and Jakara, especially seeing them to get called up to the main roster. That's a huge boost for them. That lets you know how confident that the upper brass is for them. But if we're really talking tag team of the year, gave us these epic matches along with these really good storylines. It's Fraxium. It's Nathan Frazier and Axiom. those guys consistently did things that you can kind of understand. They're a tag team, but in the same note, they're also individuals that want individual success, and they're trying to be greedy. And that's all athletes naturally, you know, when you're chasing for greatness, there's a bit of a greed that comes with it. And what comes with that greed is sometimes they happen to put themselves in compromising situations, but they end up coming back home to defending the tag team championships because they know consistently those belts and having those belts is what makes them great, what makes them a threat, and what makes them the premier tag team on NXT. They hold it down and make all the other tag teams want a chance at them. And they always put on banger matchups. It's Fraxium for me.
Excellent, great points there. I'm going to go through why each one of these nominees were nominated before I give my Golden Lightsaber for the Tag Team of the Year for NXT. Luca and Stacks, from their lack of roster time or on the main roster or on television time, now being part of the Tony D'Angelo family, into that whole storyline. When you're part of the Tony D'Angelo family, that you're part of a storyline, regardless of the fact, watching over the Don, doing all the different things. They got to touch tag team gold briefly for Stacks. Stacks coming a long way with Luca. They just fell short in becoming a tag team of the year. If they would have had a longevity or a title run or something where it could have got us more wanting to see Stacks and Luca. There could be an up and coming tag team for the next coming year in 2025. That puts them in a keep an eye out for that tag team as well as this other duo tag team. Not my favorite cup of coffee, but they're striving, also growing, doing a good job becoming Reality of Wrestling tag team champions. That's Hank Walker and Tank Ledger. Again, not my cup of coffee, but in a company or in a division that needs a lot of tag teams, where you saw there was a lot of NXT men tag teams. When we saw that Gauntlet Battle Royal looking for them on contenders, Hank and Tank stands out, regardless of the fact if it's not my cup of coffee, but they still stand out as a tag team working together. Big man. It's a little bit as a show for a little bit of everybody, but they're another team to watch out in 2025. They're up and coming, ready to go. Very, very exciting to see. Chase, we're not going to talk too much about it because they disbanded, they split. They had that nice title run, feel good back to school moment, and around that time when school was starting, they won the tag team titles. And of course, there was a storyline related with that, especially through the year Chase you had from the very beginning with a lot of uncertainties. Last Legend and Jakara Jackson, they continue to be the pinnacle, top-notch women tag team in NXT, where they disbanded the tag team titles. There is no other competition, but for them to go up to the main roster and go over to Saudi Arabia and participate in a Saudi show on the main roster, standing Last Legend in front of Jade Cargill and not looking too small for the moment. Now, I'm not talking about stature, I'm talking about moment, aura. She looked like she belonged. She deserved to be there. Jakara Jackson totally belongs in the main roster. You can make the way they cut the promos, the way Metaphor got over in 2024, where Oro Mensah was like, get this guy off my team. But he's now I want to see more Oro Mensah. Noran Dar always was fun, and he's even fun without the cup. You could easily say they're tag teams, but right now, Nathan Frazier and Axiom are another level of pinnacle. To me, the Golden Saber goes to them because they're in a division, they're outstanding tag team in that division. Because if I take Axiom and Nathan Frazier, and to me, that was a dream matchup I wanted to see, was them taking on ABC before Mr. Bay got hurt. I kind of wanted to see Ace Austin and Chris Bay go up against Fraxium and have that tag team just to see, wow, two of the best tag teams in all professional wrestling all across. So I give that Golden Saber to Nathan Frazier and Axiom, but Last Legend and Jakara right there, man, because they were so close for them to get that, especially for WWE to take those women to Saudi and putting them on that card. God, man, it really gave me that damn. it really was very conflicting on the very first award. As we say hello to Ethan, what's going on, Mr. Southampton? Salute to you there and over there across the pond. Thank you for joining us this evening. Yes, so wow, that was a good one. What a first one. What a first one. Brace yourself now. The next one. Let me get this banner out of the way here. And moment of the year. The nominees for moment of the year as I get the banner up. It will be NXT at the ECW Arena. The calendar sale of Chase U to save the university from bankruptcy. The NXT TNA agreement, seeing TNA working with NXT, vice versa, or the NXT going to the CW network in a new home, in a new platform. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give you our picks. We'll go to Chef Dan. What is your moment of NXT in 2024, Chef Dan?
Those are the only ones we can choose from, right?
You could pick another one if it's not up there and give us your reasons. So as soon as you show the math.
I mean, there's only one moment for me really that was that made me truly happy. It's not a match. I mean, it was a match, but it was because of a match. It made a moment for me, and that was the disbanding of Chase U. I mean, what else could I enjoy more than the demise of Chase U? I just
okay. You go to Saber goes to the demise and the disbanding of Chase U. All right, I can see where that could be there. Golden Saber. Interesting. I'll go right to you, Chris.
Mine's definitely the TNA and NXT crossover. For me, growing up, TNA was I enjoyed it at one point more than WWE as a kid, and to see these announcers actually be able to actually say those three letters, mention previous history, having people come to the brand like Joe Hendry, Jordan Grace, Rascals. It's truly something different from a lot of partnerships we've seen with like New Japan and AEW. AEW tried their partnership with TNA, didn't work out as great. I still think they could benefit a little more from NXT going to TNA, but just seeing those TNA guys who aren't necessarily getting the exposure because they're on not so big of a network. Not everyone has access TV, including myself, but I have the TNA. I still watch it anyway, but like people don't want to pay for a subscription to watch it. So for them to be on a platform, on a show that a lot of people, now everyone can watch, I mean, that's a really big moment, especially for these guys who are developing. That's what NXT is all about, in my opinion.
It's a good one. That's a very good one. I'm going to go again. Here's NXT moments. The Chase U calendar. I know that was a big storyline driven. A lot of people were invested. Andre Chase losing the school. No more Chase U. The tears in the crowd at that moment. And, of course, having, Thea Hale, JC Jane. We saw the emergence of a Jasmine Nix getting on there and doing the calendar and getting the school back in function, getting the teams, the school spirit back in NXT. Could have been a great moment if you're an NXT fan that's watching the show, that might touch your strings and your hearts, especially what happens at the end here with Ridge Holland disbanding it, and that's an emotional roller coaster if you are an NXT faithful. You could easily see that as 2024 moment of the year. It's not mine. I'm going to go next with the ECW Arena. The ECW Arena, great venue, great opportunity for the WWE to go there with the NXT brand, having that woman hardcore match with Jada and Lola Vice. having the nostalgia of the NXT, the whole great or nostalgia of all that. I just thought it took away a little bit from the NXT wrestlers with not stepping over ECW wrestlers. Then we had some ECW wrestlers that weren't invited, get a little bit bothered, like Tommy Dreamer. So nothing really good came out of that, other than people feeling slighted because certain people weren't invited. Certain people only had 2-second cameos. Certain people had a match that really shouldn't have a match in the ends of tag team, and so forth. And then instead of more positivity, was kind of like complaining. That cannot be a moment of the year if it's a lot of complaining, a lot of bickering with it. And great to see Rhino there and all that good stuff. Again, there was some good nostalgic. It was a good event, but it wasn't a moment in my opinion. The big chance for NXT going to CW. That's a changing of a network. Now you're on over-the-air antenna or free TV on all the CW. That's more exposure to the wrestling community, to non-wrestling fans, younger audience to watch that on the CW, where NXT is a developmental. So you're growing your fan base along with the wrestlers. Oh, I remember this person when they were wrestling here on this, and now they're in the main roster, and they're younger kids now, maybe 11, 12, when they now turn 18, 21. Some of these wrestlers are just hitting their prime, where they're going to be probably main event to WrestleMania, and then you have that audience to follow them, grow with them. They're going to spend money. They're going to buy merchandise. Now they're able to buy the merchandise, spend the money, and do all this stuff. The reverse cycle. WWE, that's a smart move by the WWE going in there. That's a smart ploy there. But my moment is working together with TNA. For many years, they're not known for playing nice with other wrestling companies. WWE was in their own world, secluded. Everybody else, they were completely in another multiverse. To work with TNA and have them on their TV with their titles and showing that we're willing to work not just with TNA, with All Japan, with Pro Wrestling Noah, to work with now GCW, allowing the performers from NXT and the main roster to wrestle with at Bloodsport. Those are the things that open in the door where now we're becoming a wrestling community all together. But WWE is the top of the pinnacle. You work with us, we're going to get you growing. Look at what TNA has to happen. That explosion of them selling out arenas. People want to see the product because you got to see some of their wrestlers on NXT, and rightfully so. The TNA wrestlers have done well, have done great, phenomenal work in their in-ring and their abilities, which we already knew, but now we're sort of on the big WWE platform, where we're like, wow, this is something great. This was a door that swung both ways for benefiting both companies. It wasn't like, I'm going to poach all your wrestlers, Will Hairspray and New Japan or Pro Wrestling, the way Tony Khan has done to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Seriously, let's call it
I agree. I agree.
Because you talk to me, you're telling me you're going to put on a New Japan show, you're not watching it because you don't know half of the wrestlers there, and all the top wrestlers are in AEW. So what are you going to do, a whole card around Jack Saber Jr.? So let's think on point. To me, that TNA, WWE, TNA, NXT relationship it's working. To me, that's the great moment. That's the NXT moment of the year, in my opinion, because now they see other wrestlers and getting to see the other ladies go wrestle in TNA, like a Izzy Dane, like a Tatum Paxley, like a Kali Bright, like Kendall Gray. They got to see. Not only that, they're outside that bubble of the NXT universe in Orlando. They got to see something else and different, and also working with Reality of Wrestling, and that just branched out, and it kind of led to the WWE ID. To me, I consider that put them all together with the moment with the TNA collaboration. To me, and look what we saw. Joe Henry, who was the top video drawer on WWE platform, he's a TNA wrestler. Tells you a lot there. That's a great moment there, all across, and that could even transplant from TNA's best moment to NXT's best moment. So we move on. Let's go to the next. As I move this list here up, we're gonna go to the next one here. We're going to go with the PLE of the year. The nominees are NXT Deadline, Stand and Deliver in Philadelphia, NXT Heatwave in Toronto, NXT Battleground in Vegas from the Apex Center. I'm going to go right to you, Chris. Who is what is your favorite or the best PLE in 2024, in your opinion?
Ooh, this one's kind of a hard one. I usually know what my nominees are. This one's kind of tough. I kind of liked all of these pay-per-views for different reasons. And oh man, I'm gonna say NXT Battleground at the UFC Apex Arena, and I know that's gonna surprise people, but I said I like them all for different reasons. I'm a big UFC guy. I love the UFC. This was a time where we saw a lot of like Shayna. She was going back and forth doing a lot of the main roster stuff and appearing on that pay-per-view. She essentially made that pay-per-view worth watching with her Lola Vice match. Two MMA girls. It was great, and the way the arena looked. That's how at NXT. To me, that's what it is. It's hard to pick between this one and Deadline because we saw some. I love the Iron Survival. It's such a good match. I just didn't think it was I think I watched it last year. I just think last year's was slightly better, especially with the women's. The women's last year was phenomenal. For that reason alone, and for the reason why I'm a big UFC guy, and they did that event at a great venue. The crowd was hot. I really enjoyed that pay-per-view. I really did.
All right, pretty good. NBC, he said WWE only used TNA for Joe Henry and Jody Grace. I pushed back on that one because you had the Rascals show up on NXT television. You had Rosemary doing a program at NXT television, and you also had Frankie Kazarian as well. They were there. They participated. So it wasn't. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
And Alex Hammerstone. He did a match with the.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Also, Hammerstone was a mercenary by Tony D'Angelo. So there was not just Joe Henry. We saw more Joe Henry getting over with Jordan Grace, but there were more people involved there. So Chef Dan, give me your pre-LE of the year for NXT in 2024.
When you made the list, there was only one that popped into my head that I'd rewatch over and over and over again, every single match, regardless of the results. That's NXT Heatwave.
Ooh.
Heatwave was, and if I remember correctly, after that show, I said 5 out of 5 would rewatch again. And as I'm re-looking at the card again, Femi versus Wes Lee, that's not much to say there. Kalani Jordan versus Sol Ruka. Yeah, Fraxton versus Chase U with Rich Holland and it was Rich and what you call it?
Born.
Rich and Andre. That was the tag team at the time. Yeah, Roxanne Perez versus Lola Vice. That match was good, even though the build to it was kind of cringe. It was still a great matchup. And then to top it all off, that was the fatal four-way where Trick got shot on Ethan, but Ethan literally fell into the championship. Talk about a cinematic ending. That's pieced it out. It's just stone. So it's just.
I just want to say real quick before you go to the next category. If you would have put Halloween Havoc on here, I would have been so biased because I was there. To me, that's a really good honorable mention. I totally forgot about that one because it wasn't on the list, but I enjoyed Halloween Havoc. Not just because I was there. We saw Bully Ray and we saw the top 4 women on the roster, in my opinion, compete in a tag team. So I just had to throw that one out there. I really
No,
enjoyed
that's
that
good.
one
That's
as
a good honorable mention. The reason why I got pegged out because they showed Dave LaGreca's face on it, and once you put that actor's face on it, you're out.
Oh yeah. I popped with Bully because I was sitting at the. I bought the combo tickets, and I was sitting right in the suite area, a little bit on the top, and I booed David because they showed his face on the jumbotron. Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, you got your one time, buddy boy. You got your pink roll. You killed it. You're not getting a second one, but not on this channel. No.
Everybody gets one.
You get one, buddy boy. Eat it up, like Daniel. Eat it up. All right. So we got PLE awards. I'm gonna give you my thought process. Which one I picked here. I'm gonna go with the. Of course, I like to do the elimination type of deal here. Stand and Deliver in Philadelphia. I love that they filled the arena, 15,000 plus strong for that Stand and Deliver card. Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams, all the matchups there. Roxanne Perez, hell of an event. That's their WrestleMania for NXT. Great card. It just got better throughout the year. Like you said, NXT Deadline. I like the original, very first one because I was there. Like you said with the Halloween Havoc. I'm gonna go with the original Deadline at the Performance Center. Me and Terrence were there, and I really loved that one, the very first one. But I could get what you're talking about with Deadline. I thought it was a strong way of finishing the year. Where, of course, and they did a hell of a job. Pay-per-view or premium event that I would like to watch again. I'm gonna go to Heat Wave. It was a hell of a card. We just talked about all those falling into the world title, getting that and rewatchable. We said at the time that might be the premium live event of the year because of the matches and the storyline, how he got the title for Ethan Page. I mean, my goodness, trick shot through right on it on all sorts. But I'm going with NXT Battleground for different reasons from yours though. Two different reasons. The run reason, we finally we got the inaugurated North American women's title with Kalani Jordan in that fatal four-way there with all the women, where there were the moments. It wasn't just a match; it was the moments that how it perspired and got down to it, where Kalani wins it on that ladder match. You see Michin feeling happy and good for seeing her winning that title. You saw all the women ball out, wrestled out there. Plus, first time ever you had TNA World Champion versus Knockouts versus NXT World Champion, title for title. Or it wasn't title for title, it was for the NXT title at the Battleground, where you have two champions on a premium live event in WWE history going at it. And, at least the modern day that we could remember, that was a big moment. To me, I find that's the best one because it was, and also it wasn't in an unconventional arena. It was in the Apex Center. It wasn't a conventional arena, and it was like, whoa, something different, and it was totally whacked out. I know a lot of people watched into it, so let's go, and we'll get to our next topic now. That was a good one, and we're gonna and of course, you came in right in good time with your nominees here because we're going into the male superstar of the year. And here are your nominees: Ethan Page, Trick Williams, Femi, The Don, Tony D'Angelo, Chef Dan. You are going to give your golden saber to your top male superstar of NXT, and that will be...
Damn, this one's really, really, really tough.
I think it's unanimous in my opinion.
Really interesting.
If I gotta say it, matter of fact, why am I making this tough? This is easy. Femi.
Who?
He gave us banger after banger matches, especially when it was time to deliver on PLEs. He came through and gave us feats of enormous strength. He fights like a big man is supposed to while making it close to a realistic fight. He's the closest thing to we're seeing having the literal meteoric rise within NXT, if the whole purpose of NXT is to build someone who is ready for the main roster, he is the guy that meteorically rises each and every time he shows up in front of our screen and gets closer and closer to that goal. Mike's skills have become impeccable. He had that from day one, but it's getting better and better with knowing how to tell a story. He's learning how to tell a story without having the mic in front of him all the time, with the certain looks and the interactions he's having backstage with certain talents. That's how you got to him and Tony D'Angelo. That was a bit of not a long story, but it was something a little more drawn out for them to tell, to them to get to there. And then on top of all that, the biggest thing I can't take away is that within the calendar year, he surpassed Wes Lee to be the most dominant North American champion in NXT history. And there's a prominent list of North American champions. So for him to stick out above all that, and now he's moving on to the NXT championship, and once again, he surpassed what Wes Lee could have done because he's supplanted and made himself a contender right there. He's going to fight for the championship as opposed to Wes has been fighting for chances. It's Femi for me.
All right. It's Femi, not Obama Femi, heel, but we understand what you wrote. Chris, your wrestling male.
Okay. It's not Femi, but I really enjoy Femi. I think he's phenomenal. He's the future. Everything you said, Chef, I could say that about Femi. But everything you just said, I'm going to say the exact same thing for Trick Williams. I think it's a no-brainer for Trick. When you say building stars, I think he's more over than half that main roster. He's damn sure more over than anybody in AEW. I mean, people are going, like I said, I'm one of those people that the Halloween Havoc, because some people there don't watch NXT. At least the two guys that I was sitting next to, he brought his son, and they were there the Raw after, but they didn't watch NXT. They bought it, one, because it was cheaper with the combo ticket, and two, he wanted to hear he wanted to go to for Trick's entrance. They wanted to hear how like it was in person. That's kind of the reason why I went to. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm not the biggest NXT guy, but when a PLE like that comes to town, first you go, and then you go for that. How many main events has that guy main evented in PLEs this year? Damn near all of them. And won damn near all of them. Except the couple, Ethan Page, he lost the title, got it back. I mean, I think he's like Jey Uso on NXT. He's just so over. He's a star. More people are talking about. We're going to see how this plays out in 2025 now that Trick and Femi are going to go against each other. They're having their face-to-face. Because I agree with Chef. Like, Femi's, everything he said about Femi is true. But in my opinion, and this might be a hot take, and as dominant as Femi is, I think Trick Williams stands out more in this feud. Now, the feud hasn't gone too much right now. We still have plenty of time for it. They're still going to do so much with it. Right now, I think Trick just stands out a little bit more this year.
Not bad. I make some great arguments, gentlemen. That makes some great arguments here. I'm going to go with Femi. He's only 22, 23 years old. The guy is yes. You can Google it. Google it right now. You're in the chat. Google it. 23 years old. That man is young. That kid is young. He's a little bit older than you, just by a couple of months maybe.
He was born in April of 9. Yeah. Oh yeah. So he's 20. Yeah, he's 24.
24 years old. Younger than Juan Soto. This guy, from winning the men's breakout, cashing in, becoming the North American champion, seeing his rise, phenomenal work, excellent microphone skill. I love the fact when you go outside the performance center, you hear the crowd go chanting, "Woo." I mean, it's just that aura walk. He has the it factor. He could easily be male superstar of the year. For Trick Williams, the same. One thing is, I'm going to, and for other reasons that cannot disclose on why I can't give Trick the male reason of the year. I hate to say it, I held it against him a little bit, but he is over. And he will do well in the main roster. His second title run, I think he's appreciating more than his first title run. Trick, it has the charisma, the uber baby face to go over. He could actually be the John Cena if they want to push him on the main roster when he turns that high up. That's how much babyface he is, and he works the whole character. Trick Williams should be the man to me, the wrestler of the year. I'm gonna go with Ethan Page. To be honest with, because he lost. He fell into the title, and he's making chicken crap out of, and he's making a great storyline of Javon Evans deleting us, and everyone hates Ethan Page. You can't stand his guts. Like, why has he just got here? He got a title already. He people, and that's what the heel does. This is what the wrestling world is missing. In a world where if you're MJF and he's supposed to be this mega heel, when he starts acting like a douche, you like him. You start cheering him. No, you're supposed to dislike and hate him. When any heel turns, against the crowd, you're supposed to dislike them. That was the problem with the Street Profits when they turned heel. You couldn't, and Bobby Lashley, you couldn't get into them because you wanted to cheer them. In a world where the heel becomes so light, not Ethan. He kept with that same even keel. I hate this freaking guy's guts. I hate him that he comes out here and he smiles. I hate him that he does this. Good that you were losing. He captivated me. He finished the 2024 strong. To me, that's Ethan Page here. But I want to break the tie, though. But to me, it's Ethan Page. I want to break this tie. I'm going to go. I think I'm going to hit Trick because I think Trick is heading to the main roster quicker than Femi. I think Femi is going to rule NXT one more year, and I think he's going to have even a better year in 2025. So, yeah. But again, that's why I'm going to Ethan. Tony Angelo, honorable mention for Tony. Getting that North American title. That whole Rocky bit was great with his family and so forth, and moving forward with him for Tony. There's nothing wrong for him putting that. If you have him as your top male of the year, that's nothing wrong with this. Nothing to sneeze at. Tony D'Angelo is a consummate pro and a good choice here. Let's go to the female superstar of the year. Let's go, and here are your nominees: Lola Vice, Roxanne Perez, Keilani Jordan, and Jada Parker. Now, guys, I did not put none of the big three because they came in October. They came in quite at the end, and we didn't see a lot of body of work with them in the ring, from Julia to Stephanie to Zaria. I did not place them in there for that reason. So I wanted to give the women that been there from January and put in some work. So I'm going to go right to you, Chris. Who is your female wrestler of the year?
My female wrestler of the year for NXT, my opinion, is Roxanne Perez. She's also so involved in the main event scene. She's involved in the big matches. She's kind of the face of that women's division. Like you said, right? Julia, Stephanie, they came in October. They're still new to American programming, especially not just WWE NXT. They have a long way to go. Roxanne, I mean, I had some about her heel run in the beginning because I thought it felt forced. It didn't feel natural. She looked kind of like you could tell the act. Now I just think she's just this. I just want to like she's great at what she does. She's a good heel now. She's great in the ring. I actually never had a problem. She is my age. She is only 22 years old. She's getting mentored by Booker T, and now all these people at NXT. But Booker was like her first person that she counted on, and somebody at that caliber, you're already set up for a successful long-term career. So my NXT Women's Wrestler of the Year is the NXT Women's Champion, Roxanne Perez.
Very good choice. Chef Dan. There's a lot of good women here. For who is your female wrestler of the year?
This one is going to surprise you specifically, Jedi. My NXT Women's Wrestler of the Year is Kalani Jordan. Someone that, if you haven't watched the show before, I've given a lot of flack because I just don't want to see you being happy to be here. But she shifted that narrative completely. This year winning, becoming the inaugural Women's North American Champion and holding that belt to a standard that was very, very high, even to a point where she had to lose the championship in a gauntlet match. They had to run a gauntlet against that woman. It just goes to show how strong of a person and a wrestler she is, consistent throughout the year. That's the one thing that I am going to harp on, is she was consistent throughout this year. And I'm a sucker for consistency.
I like that thought there. Especially like you said about the happy-go-lucky. Because you disliked that a little bit from her there. The nominees: Lola Vice. Gonna go with Lola Vice. Lola Vice, what a year. She got from her coaches from NXT, most improved becoming wrestler for her. Lola Vice putting in those matches from the battleground, underground matches that she had. Her opportunity at going after Roxanne for the world title coming up short, but continue to persevere. Her hardcore matches with Jada Parker, as Chef Dan's about to sneeze, and just fell short because I just still the one thing I do remember on Lola Vice is that crying and wiggling the hips promo. I'm like, oh, why? If you're gonna beat the crap out of Roxanne Perez, and you had that heartfelt story when your mother took her black belt when she was 18, when you were pregnant, but then you were crying, but then I felt the emotion, but then you started wiggling your hips. Like I was supposed to. I don't know if I wanted to give you a tissue or I wanted to put $1 down your thumb. So so it kind of confused me, Lola. Tú eres mejor que eso. Vamos para adelante. Yo quiero que tú seas campeona. I'm saying it in Spanish. I want you to be a champion. Let's go. We believe in you. So we haven't lost faith in you. Yeah, she's really good there. To me, when I'm going to look at the women one more time, I want to talk about Jada Parker. Jada Parker, boy, from the minute I saw her make her first wrestling debut on a house show in Sanford, Florida, on NXT Live. I was with Terrence. That's the day we did the promo for Stand and Deliver. I said, this girl has the it factor. I remember turning around, and she just her first few moments in the ring. I said, her mannerisms, her cadence as a wrestler, she's going to be a star. I remember telling Terrence, and I'm seeing her develop and blossom in front of our eyes. Her hardcore match with Meacham, brutal match of the year for me for women. That was great to see her back and forth for feud. That was a hell of a feud with Meacham for both women. It propelled and elevated both women to the top. Fell short, not able to get the gold, but I think that's coming up next year, hopefully for her, for the mid card. For Jada Parker, the sky's the limit for that young lady. They trust her a lot. Roxanne Perez, seeing her develop in NXT from Reality of Wrestling, being the face of the company, carrying the face of the company, but at times her promos feel like there's something like a I don't know type of deal with the promo to me with her, and it just, come on, Roxy, put it in first gear, get out of neutral. It's something about that just like it makes me want to like grab her and shake her up a little bit. Come on, give me some cadence here. But she's paying more homage to a heel because it kind of seems like she dislikes being in front of that NXT crowd at the Performance Center, and it's showing her as a heel. So they must have talked to her and say, look at something that pisses you off or bothers you, and use that towards your promos. And she's using that. And she's showing, and that's why it's starting to resonate, but not enough for me. To me, I'm going with Kalani Jordan, and to me, Kalani Jordan is the female face of NXT, baby face wise, due to the fact that young lady only has a year and a half, maybe less, wrestling in front of live audience on television. Her matches, not she don't botch. She doesn't look a little too nervous no more, comfortable. Her charisma, she looked, you know what I knew to me when she won me over big time and more? I know, yeah, she's here when she teamed up with Bianca and Jade and that, and I was like in St. Louis, I was like, yeah, she belongs, she fits. Kalani continues to get better and better, and this is going to be the year Lani, but to me, she finished this year strong. To me, the woman of the year, to me, the superstar is Kalani. She's the inaugural North American champion. When you go back to the history of the North American title, she's the very first one. And to put her in her inexperience or supposedly lack of inexperience in the ring, it says volumes of the WWE and her hard work and her excelling on top. So to me, it's Kalani Jordan. Why I put her on there. We know Roxanne. She's called the Prodigy. It kind of hurts her because she belonged there. Her name is Prodigy. She is the best. But for Kalani to come when you didn't expect that, we didn't expect Kalani to win that North American title. We didn't have her there. We had Fallon Henley. We had other ladies. We had Kalani last.
And literally, the night that the match was happening, it for all intents and purposes, it looked like Sol Ruka was going to win it.
Yeah. It looked like it was tailor made for Sol. We were like maybe Jada, but then it was just Kalani, and we're like, at the moment we're like, what? And then she made this guy a believer to giving her female wrestler of the year. So yeah, just imagine that here. All right, we'll move on. Almost done here. We're going to go to NXT match of the year. NXT matches of the year. Here are the nominees. You have the Women's Iron Survivor at Deadline. Jordynne Grace versus Roxanne Perez at Battleground. Ilya Dragunov versus Trick Williams for the NXT title at Vengeance Day. Oba Femi, Josh Briggs, and Dijak at Stand and Deliver for the Triple Threat North American title. Gentlemen, is there another match that is not on this card that you consider to be match of the year, or take your choice? I'll go with you, Chris.
Ooh, this is probably the toughest category of the night. You can't go wrong with any of these. I'm gonna say the Women's Iron Survivor Challenge. No, scratch that. It was Dragunov and Trick. That's my match of the year. That's better than, because I said last year's women's match was better. So yeah, Dragunov versus Trick, really good match. During that time was one of the top guys, him, Braun Breaker. In my opinion, I think he was better than Carmelo. This was a match where Ilya, you saw kind of the difference, big guy, right, versus, the technical guy. This match on paper was good. I don't remember too much about the match, in all honesty, so I would rewatch it again. But out of these matches, that's the most one that stood out. Because Jordynne Grace and Perez, I enjoyed that match at Battleground. But I think there's better opponents that we could see Jordynne Grace potentially go up against in the future. So that's why I wouldn't have put that one. But that one made close. This one was really hard for me. This one's really hard.
Hey, that's what it's all about. Christopher Leclerc liked Roxanne better than Kalani Jordan. Yeah, you could. There's a strong case to have Roxanne Perez on that build over Kalani, but I gave the reasons for Kalani. And again, I'm not saying to change your mind over Kalani. I could give you 1,000% where Roxanne should be, could be, and might be. But to me, I'll give it Kalani for those reasons. Chef, yo, I gave you a minute to think. That's why, because it's a tough one. The NXT match of the year.
It is, but as you listed them, it kind of became very easy for me. As much as I wanted to go to Heat Wave and what they delivered, man, in any of those matches over there. 2. Femi versus Briggs versus Dijak? You talking about the slaps? You talking about the classics? You talking about it like, yo, dude, that's one like, and if they only, this is why I hope Dijak does well on the indie scene so that he can come back. So that some way, somehow, if Briggs also comes up and Femi comes up and they have some way to, oh my God. That was that when I remember watching that, woo, damn. It made you grab a snack, and then while you eating the snack, you kind of stopped and went, huh? And the snack fell out your mouth. It's just, that's the type of matchup that was. Femi versus Briggs versus Dijak. That's it for me.
All right, awesome. The Women's Iron Survivor match was a hell of a match. Seeing all those women, top notch in the Iron Survivor, the Bakuras, the Ruka, the Julia, so forth. Hell of a match that brought 5. You could say 5, arguably 5 of the best NXT women there at the current time. And you could seeing that match unfold. Hell of a match there. But we don't have any. We got the outcome for Julia, but we don't know Julia's story if she's going to finish and get the title from Roxanne. So that's like to be continued for me to make it a match of the year because of the ramifications and the repercussions on it. But it's gonna be a little contradicting when I get to my choice when I just said that with the story being finished and so forth. Jordynne Grace versus Roxanne Perez at Battleground. Type champion versus champion, hell of a match. Roxanne showed that she belongs against the top-notch champion of all champions, in the champions with Jordynne Grace. But I do remember it was a little bit of a little bit kind of sketchy with when you had veneers with her big white teeth, veneers of Ash by Elegance come out and just show up there, and the distraction wasn't so sharp. It wasn't so clean. It was kind of like. And then she won. She would have done a better heel distraction match of the year. Would have got me, but there was a little wonkiness that kind of pushed it back a little bit for her not to finish to be a match of the year because of the finish. Roxanne should have went over, but I didn't like how they got to it with the way Ash came out. It didn't resonate to be top notch worthy. Trick Williams versus Ilya Dragunov. My goodness, that was a hell of a match. But Dragunov, again, his style match is good, but he's got to sell a little more of his and he kind of frustrates me. I hate his matches because he doesn't sell. He's a no-seller like Will Hairspray and kind of pisses me off with Dragunov sometimes. And he's not one of my cup of coffee. That's why I'm not going to give him match of the year. He just. I'm glad he's on the shelf right now. Hopefully, he learns how to sell while he's getting hurt. For him, and of course, I'm going to give my top notch to the triple threat match for the North American title because Josh Briggs to me got over because he was just another one with Brooks and Jensen. They remind me of the two guys from Regular Show that used to come out with the mustache. They used to make fun out. They used to watch on TV, but Briggs became a hell of a match going to Japan now, and now he's intriguing. He went over without going over, and Dijak became a cult legend. I hated that he got released because we thought he was going to take that momentum with that triple threat match and go to the main roster. that's why I said it sounds like contradicting from the Women's Iron Survivor match, because we want to see the outcome or finish the story. Unfortunately for Dijak, we didn't get to see him finish his story in the WWE going over with that match. But Briggs is now getting the opportunity to go to Noah and wrestle in Japan and help out and help him and another wrestler as well. I think to me that's the match of the year, because Femi, he got in there with guys big as him, and they all three delivered a freaking banger of a match. It was like, the man slapping meat, like they say. This was all beef special, because those son of a bitches killed it in great ways, and that just kept bringing the aura and the pizzazz of Oba Femi throughout the year. It was like, oh damn, this Oba, he beat those big monsters. Who the hell's gonna beat them? Because when then you say Wesley, I know he's the former world champion, but damn, he just survived Briggs and Dijak. And Oba Femi continued to elevate. To me, that's match of the year on there for Oba Femi, Josh Briggs, and Dijak. Donovan Dijak. So yes. All right, we have a couple more categories here, and this wasn't on the sheet, but as I was thinking, let's go to it. This is the most improved female wrestler this year in NXT, and here are the nominees: Tatum Paxley, Fallon Henley, Ren Sinclair, or the hot ass Soruka. I'm gonna go with you, Chris.
It's the hot ass Soul Ruka, in my opinion. She's featured in a lot more matches. We saw her just recently. She's been on TNA, if I'm not wrong. That was, that's her going on another show and just getting more exposure. To me, it's Soul Ruka, but I really enjoy the up and coming of Tatum Paxley, I will say. But for me, it's Soul Ruka.
Yeah. Paul, you're muted, buddy. You're muted. We didn't hear it.
Sorry. I said, Chris, you my twin, and Jedi, you breaking my heart. Jedi, you breaking my heart. You put I want to say Tatum so bad. I really, really do. I'm a huge fan of Tatum. But if you're realistically asking me who's improved more and who's been getting more opportunities as of lately because of their improvement, it's been Ren Sinclair. Ren Sinclair has been the one. I talk about a business decision. You're breaking your mama's heart. Jenna, you're breaking your mama's heart. Oh, man. Ren Sinclair, she's been getting better and better in the ring, which the ability has always been there, which is why even when Cora Jade went down, she was able to step up into the company and get the contract, and she was able to put herself. She was meandering through and through here and there, but what she's especially gotten better at is the mic work and her interactions with certain wrestlers. And because it makes sense, but in a way that it makes sense for her, it's authentic, but it's not something that's scripted. And it comes out so clean that it's been the ability for why she's been able to, get herself into the NQCC, No Quarter Catch crew, and made it the Ren QCC at times. And now you see them becoming a better and better faction was because of the addition of someone like Ren Sinclair. You didn't need 4 dudes in the group. It's a sausage fest. Excuse me. But she elevated the group, and through the group's elevation, it's helped her elevate because, not gonna lie, even though she spent a whole lot of time in the penalty box in the women's Iron Survivor match, that lets me know she was in the mix and in the action a lot as well. That meant they were really going after her and attacking her because she's a threat that's coming up. You got to put him down early. It's gonna be her time soon. Ren Sinclair for me.
Awesome. This is a tough one. an extremely tough one because Soruka's been on a lot of matches. A hell of a match there with Kalani Jordan for that North American title, also being part of that ladder match to determine the inaugural North American champion. To me, what Soruka reminds me of before Liv Morgan finally won a world title, always a bridesmaid, never the bride for Soruka. She's improved. We know what she could give, but they just haven't pulled the trigger, and she's falling short. Doesn't mean that she's not a bad wrestler. No, because you keep invested in a Soruka because you want to know you're gonna enjoy when she finally completes and goes over and wins a title for Soul, but not to me, not my most improved female because we already know the talent was there with that Snow Snatcher. We knew that she's over like Rover. Tatum Paxton, watching her struggle with an identity of where she's going to be, if she's going to be part of Diamond Mine under Albie Niles when she first came up, seeing her wrestling a lot of level up matches, now getting the crowd over with her with that dark persona, going, against Wendy Chu, then Rosemary. Her work with Lyra Valkyria was phenomenal. That best friend stuff. It borrowed a little bit from others from the past, though, but they put their own spin to it. That was great for Tatum. Tatum got over with the crowd. People love her working on it in TNA as well. So improved. It's hard and not to give her that check mark for her. She's right there at the cusp of saying she's the one. Fallon Henley, watching her as well, level up, being kind of like a female valet with Josh Briggs and Jensen, part of that group there, and then they all disband, go alone. She's kind of by herself, doesn't know where she fits in. Being part of that inaugural title ladder match, didn't pull the trigger, thought it was going to be her favorite. For Fallon to fall short because she just got the North American title, and she's forming a group in the Fatal Influence, reminiscing a little bit of Fatal Attraction, Toxic Attraction, excuse me. Don't know, but to me, that's her 2025 is going to be where she's going to be talked about a lot. I don't think she falls short as much. She's improved, but I think 2025 is where we're going to see her excel with this group. Ren Sinclair, to me, should be one of the top most improved wrestler, and I think to me that's the reason why, because when she would come up, she didn't get no cheers, no reaction from the crowd. When she came in and give herself that high five, her wrestling gear was a little off. Like, what is wrong with this young lady? They were jobbing her out. No, not for nothing on the main roster. On the main roster in NXT, not Level Up, and we're like, what's going on? But then Ren took character developing to one of the best female character that we want to see more, because she's acting tough in front of the men. But have you saw her promo for I'm scared? I don't know how I'm going to pin these women. I loved it because it kind of showed that realism with some people. They want to act a certain way in front of certain people behind. Another time, there's something different. Little realism into the character for her growth, her. Now the crowd loves her. She's got the crowd cheering for her. Same thing with Paxley. You could say either one. You could flip a coin. But to me, it's Ren. I like the Ren because, again, like you said, she gave the North Quarter Catch Club a personality now with her now. And now you want to know more about them because she's with them. When she slapped Charlie Dempsey in the corner in her face and wake up, go get that cup. I loved it. Show personality. Go get it. And I love that about her. And I think to me, that's why kind of her, that took me over the edge for like I could get behind a Ren Sinclair. And to me, she's the most improved female of the year. We'll go to the male final category, the most improved male of the year. This is another one that's kind of tough here. You got Javon Evans, Lexus King, Charlie Dempsey, and Trevion Heights. I'm going to Chef Dan. Who is your most improved male of the year?
This one is tough as well. But I got to go with the King, Lexus King. Lexus King, he's been involved in really good storylines with the Heritage Cup, has been drawing a lot more interest to it because we already know the having it have a different rule set than a usual matchup makes it foreign to most people that's already in the States that, don't really follow all types of wrestling. But he's made the storyline very interesting. And not only that, but he's made his own personal storyline interesting into where people are following Lexus King in what he's doing, what he's going through, not only, in the ring, but outside of the ring and internally, morally as a human being. And now I'm liking the fact that also if we originally saw it like in his debut, the reason for the name was to shy away from his father. But now the moral dilemma that he faces is, as he grows older, he is becoming closer and closer to his father, especially in the same profession that his father is in. And what does he do to try and not be that person? And that's an interesting storyline that I think comes across every human being. There is some negative aspect of a parent that you grew up not liking, that some way, somehow, you're going to see yourself falling into and having those same habits. And you sort of morally fight because this way ended with a relationship becoming this way, versus what it could be if you don't do that. But it's genetically inside of you. It's something you inherently do every day. And that's something that's very, very interesting. It's I don't know, man. He's doing it excellently to a T. I love what Lexus King is doing. And he's improved so much in the aspect of storytelling in a way that I didn't think he had at all, especially if you saw just some of his clips in his prior work.
Wow, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it gives you shockwaves. Yeah, so I'm gonna go right to you, Chris. Who's your most improved male?
I like Lexus King. I'm an AEW guy. I watched his work in AEW. The reason why I'm not gonna pick him real quick. He's improved so much in terms of the character, in terms of building himself away from the Pillman name. But in the ring, I don't see much to be improved. I'm going to be 100% honest. My most improved male is Javon Adams. First off, the guy has been in the title picture before. The guy had a match with Randy Orton inside of Randy Orton's hometown. He's only 19 years old. For Randy Orton to call him out, he called Randy out. No. Randy said, "Yo, I'm coming to NXT and I want you." That is something. That is improvement. Yeah, my most improved male is Javon Adams.
Nice.
100%.
I'm gonna start with this wrestler who needs a little more promo. I don't know if he doesn't know if he wants to be kind of a joker, funny, or what was it, or what kind of personality he wants to be. I'm talking about Charlie Dempsey. He's, of course, in ring, so great, improving. I like the fact that he recruited the North Quarter Catch Club. I like the fact that he brought in some guys and let's work all together as a group. But him as a leader kind of took me off a little bit. Like, is he, capiche? And when he had that Tony D'Angelo, it was a little kind of like, it didn't resonate. It's like, just be normal. But he's improved a lot from his ring and seeing him on TV, being him in All Japan and seeing him wrestle in Bloodsport and GCW. Great job there. Not the most improved. We know the work is there. We know that the body work is there. The most improved what I talk about from improving, put him on this nomination, was surrounding himself and trying to do character development. Just didn't resonate to be most improved yet. But another guy, part of the Character Cast Club, who we were thinking the world of. And I kind of hope we wanted to see more. I felt like they're holding him back here in NXT. I don't know if they're waiting to unleash him in 2025 to Trevion Heights. I think he's that guy that, he's got that it factor for going for him, to me. For him, especially being in the No Quarter Catch Club, he could wrestle, he could go. He's that guy. we just got to see how he's improving on the mic even more. I think he kind of resonates well. I think he goes good with Miles Bourne. Maybe there's tag team goal for those two in the near future. For those for North Dakota Catch Club, Trevian Heights very much improved from where he was, because we were like, get this guy off. When he came on Level Up, we couldn't stand him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What are you counting? What do you make? What do you assist? Sesame Streeter? Why are you bowing to the crowd? And now I love Trevian Heights. This is a guy, when you see him grow, going to Japan and working and being trained by the great Muda and being there and seeing great stuff and seeing his matches in that tournament was great for Trevian Heights, and we'll want to see more of him in 2025. Sky's the limit. There, Lexus King, my favorite. Lexus King is one of my favorite wrestlers. I got his merch. I've got the merchandise. For me, it was a hell of a shirt. I love Lexus King. I'm a big fan of his father, Brian Pillman. Rest in peace, when he played for the Bengals as well, WCW, Brian Pillman, all that stuff for Lexus King, my guy. We're going to close out with him shouting out the channel. And for Lexus King, great dude. I love the fact that he's working on his character development. I love the fact that he's taking us in his character to the loose cannon. He's losing. He's trying to be a nice guy, trying to be good, trying to be humble, trying to say I need to earn myself, but he's getting to the point where he's going to go off the edge. He's going to be that loose cannon, and I can't wait for it, because that's when they're going to put the skyrocket on him. He's going to go, and he's improved there. But I go with Javon Evans as my most improved wrestler, because he was not very well on that microphone. Remember his first promo? I was like, ooh, my God, they got a lot of work with the kid. Now the kid is really good on the microphone. Not to the greatest. Now, he's not on CM Punk there. He's not on Trick Williams, but he's really good on that microphone.
He speaks like himself.
Yeah, there it is. They take your time, talk like you were talking normal. Don't have to pretend you have to be Javon Evans. Be Jay Malika. Talk like Jay Malika. That's his real name. Just talk. Don't be Javon. And he started talking like that. To have that match with Randy Orton, and Randy Orton called him out, and in a big moment, the moment wasn't too big yet. He got a little nervous with that RKO that didn't get there. Stuff happens. He kept persevering. He's so close to becoming the world champion. Opportunities there. Fatal 4-way and all that stuff. That kid is very impressive. He improved more. He's going to have a bigger year in 2025. So there's a lot of room even more for Javon Evans for improvement. I think he's the one that improved just because of his promo skills, and people want to see him more. To me, that's Javon Evans. He's the future babyface of NXT. Over Femi is the future NXT. If he's going to be the heel or the face of it, that's going to be an interesting between those two, how they'll tell that story in 2025. But that's the most improved wrestler, man. For me, is him. Of course, honorable mentions, of course, Lexus King, Charlie Dempsey, Trevian Heights, and so forth. There, you could say Axiom and Nathan Frazier could improve. They're in the tag team gold. They're champions, so we'll see what happens to them in the future. Rich Holland could have been the most improved wrestler, because he's a top heel. Honorable mentions, easy could say a heel, where he just, one tag team gold. Now people talking about him. People despise him. When we talked about earlier about Ethan Page, you don't want to cheer the guy. You want someone to beat the shit out of them, make them shit their teeth, and that's the guy you want, Rich Holland. That's the purpose of it. Then in a world where you're the anti-hero is the one that gets cheered. No, now we really want to see Rich get him beat senselessly, as well as Ethan Page. So good job there on NXT. Again, I always tell them, to me, the MVP of NXT of the whole is the coaches, from Shawn Michaels, Bloom, Norman Smiley, Terry Taylor, all the different coaches in the performance center. Norman Smiley, you guys, you go unrecognized on these platforms of awards and stuff like that, because the wrestlers execute your game plan, but your teaching, your philosophy, your promo skills, and what you learned from your past, and you're teaching out to the young NXT wrestlers, got us invested. That's why we're proud to say that we are NXT. We're not the performers, but we're the ones that support it, that we are part of you guys in NXT, because we love the product. We love the entertainment value you give us every Tuesday, Saturdays, or Fridays, Sundays, Fridays and Saturdays on the road. in the house show up and down Florida. We are NXT. We like going to Melbourne. We go to Lakeland, wherever, Citrus, Fort Pierce, Jacksonville, Gainesville, you name it. Because NXT, you guys all are killing it, and you coaches are doing a phenomenal job, man. Teaching these kids, Carino as well, and give him a mention. All those coaches in there in NXT, you guys are freaking awesome. Keep doing the great work. Keep teaching these kids to entertainers that they're the future of the professional wrestling business. Once the main roster folks start retiring, and we're happy to see their growth and their development from Level Up or from the house show, before they even get their television matches, to be able to see them in person. I got to see Lola Vice's first ever match before she was on television. So her father and her mother at the event, got to see them there as well, and got to see that growth and seeing her now where she was. It's always great to see that. I think that's a great. You feel like when they win, you win because you identify with them. So to me, I think MVP is those coaching staff and that performance center for all those coaching, what they provide. With that, this was the 2024 awards. This was great. This was fun. Love to give the accolades there to all the wrestlers and all the different people there. Wesley, wanted to give honorable mention. Wesley coming back from injury, wrestling there, and phenomenal as well. Nikita Lyons, hopefully she can stay healthy and not continue to be injured and get more television time. Another lady honorable mentions that we didn't improve for most improvement, Carmen Petrovic. She's just right now on fire in that storyline with Ashanti the Adonis, and also fighting in Game Changer Wrestling. I wanted to give her a shout out for Carmen Petrovic. Adriana Grace, be able to work with her father in TNA as the liaison to NXT. For TNA over there, that's a great moment for her. I wanted to bring that part of 2024. They gave us that moment if you're watching TNA to see the father and daughter and see his look of enjoyment and see working with his daughter on television for wrestling. That was a great moment in 2024 for Adriana Grace, for Bianca and Santino Morella. That was a great one there. And of course, all the different other ladies that are out there. Cora Jade returning from injury as well and becoming a force there with Roxanne kind of watching over her back a little bit. That's good. Hopefully she stays healthy for her. We want to see Cora Jade because there was a lot of plans for her before injury. There was supposed to be a big year for her, but opportunity knocks now. So now there's a chance to start clean and slate for New Year's Evil. So with that said, we want to thank everyone. We appreciate everyone allowing us to do these awards. We love NXT. We continue to support it. The women, the men's, the tag teams, everything that NXT, we appreciate it. We thank you again, everyone from NXT, for giving us a great year, and I know next year's going to be even greater. New Year's Evil, of course, we got one more NXT Tuesday, and then off to the best of, and then NXT, of course, and New Year's Evil. We can't wait. So from all of us, we want to say thank you guys. We'll see you next time here. Happy holidays. We'll see you soon. Peace out. Let me first get that Alexis King little shout out. Let me find it if I can find Alexis King, and then we'll put the option.
Tune in to Heel of the Ring podcast on the Sports Jedi Network channel. May the sports be with you, because I am the hero the Sports Jedi deserves, but not the one it needs right now. Long live Lexus King.
That's sick.
There you go. Thank you,
That's
Alexis.
sick.